I'm delighted to be here today. As Marissa said, I actually am not the interim CEO until next week, but I know that Bernard Gloucester, who I think every one of you would know in this room and would share in the loss that we feel within Tusla and within the wider care system, that Bernard is leaving to take up the position of CEO in the HSE. But I think with great optimism and great hope for the difference that is going to make for children in this country in relation to child health, in relation to the social needs of all children and of children in care and children in the care system and those with care experience, and certainly the commitment that he has given to work with Tusla into the future in that space. So I know Bernard wanted me to pass on just his absolute warmest congratulations and his thanks and acknowledgement for all of the support he has gotten from you all over the years, from the partnership Epic that has had with Tusla, but more importantly from the voices of the children and young people in care and those with care experience in really influencing what we are trying to do better as an agency in Tusla. And for me, in taking up that mantle, to be here today, I think the first thing to do is to absolutely say how great it is to be here in person on Care Day and be able to do an in-person event. I think it's to thank Marissa and the team while they maintain their absolute independence and their advocacy for children and young people in care. I think their approach through collaboration and partnership with Tusla, with Youth Council and with the wider team in Epic has just been, tremendous. And I know throughout 2023 and into 2024 that relationship is only going to strengthen and the work that we are going to do in partnership is only going to grow. So thanks sincerely to Epic for that. I think this exhibition is just, it's so important and it's so moving for all of us who are trying to do better for children and young people in care and those with care experience. I think we talk about raising awareness, but the most important part of raising awareness is making sure that children and young people in care and those with care experience aren't judged, and that any stigma that may have been associated with children and young people who are in care is removed. And I think that line around embracing our stories and hearing our stories is just so critically important. And I think from my perspective, I'm only working in Tusla nearly 3 years, and the most important decisions that I have made have been based on what I have heard from the real life experience of all of the stakeholders that we work with, but more importantly from the children and young people, and where they've articulated their concerns, their fears, their expectations, their hopes, their dreams, their ambitions. And those stories stick. They're the thing that make a difference. When we get an opportunity to hear those stories, to talk to those young people, it brings it back to what is so important for us to do differently. And so for us as an agency over the last year or two, when we talk about the stories we've heard from the children and young people, from their carers, from their birth parents, from their birth families, from the staff who work and support them in residential care and in wider communities, it has been about giving voice. It has been about delivering services that make a difference. And I remember when I started in this job, one of the first letters we got was from a child in care who wrote to myself and Bernard to tell them about the experience they had of being taken into care with all of their clothes in a black bag and how that made them feel. And the only thing they asked for is that we would do better by them in terms of how we support them in moving their belongings as they go into care. And that translated into a project which won at our recent Excellence Awards, a project where a team came together and worked in partnership with the community to get some bags, to get some products that went into the bags in terms of helping people as they go into care. But more importantly, where children with care experience wrote some hopes of note and hopes of motivation and hopes of inspiration and put them into the bag, so that for the first night that child or young person would be in care, they not only had some, belongings that made it comfortable. They had their own belongings, but they had a message and a story of hope, and they had a message and a story of inspiration. And that's a very simple example of where a story and listening to a child in care story made a difference and has helped us to try and do things better. And certainly for us as an agency, we know we have a long way to go, but I really believe through partnerships with EPIC, with the Youth Council, through making sure that we hear all of the stories from children and young people in care and those in care experience, we will do better. And I have to say the stories are gorgeous. And the story about the teddy, I still have my teddy. I was sent to boarding school at 12, which I know is slightly different, but it traumatised me. And I remember lying on the bed with my teddy on my shoulder, and I still have the teddy on the corner of my wardrobe. So the picture of the teddy being that constant when you're having a bad day and you're having a difficult day and you're having a day that's not so good really does resonate with me. So I think he couldn't have picked a nicer theme in terms of the importance of sharing your stories, but more importantly, the absolute responsibility we have to listen to those stories and to do something different for ye and to help wider society do more in supporting ye and in making a better future. So it is just fantastic, and congratulations, and we're delighted to be here.